So this guy says, I went on a date with a girl last night who would not stop talking about her ex. Is it bad that I put up with it? Yeah, probably. Situation like that, you can do things like, well, what do you normally talk about your ex on dates? And do it with a smile. Don't be like an angry kind of way, but just kind of check her on it. That can sometimes be effective. But it's like ultimately, like, what kind of dynamic is that? It's like that's a really poor first date because it's so heavy and they're talking about their exes, and that doesn't really make you feel good. And so now you're associating those bad feelings with her, and it just creates a not fun experience. And so, like, I've had women do this, and I've also had women talk about, like, and it was more of like a testing thing. Like, they've talked about, oh, if I go to this place, I'm going to stay with this guy, and then seeing how I'll react to that. And so it's like you can't react in an angry way, um, or else it's like you fail her test. And it's like, but ultimately, usually the women who do that type of testing, like, oh, I'm going to stay at this other guy's house if I go to, if I travel there. Those are the types of women that, one, you don't want to be with, or two, they have a super low interest level in you. And so it's like maybe a 5 or 6 attraction level. And so they're just going to make their test really difficult. So it's like sets you up for not succeeding as far as passing them. But ultimately, like, when you do some kind of situation like that, you probably want to be disinterested. So it's like when, and I've seen like Russell Brand do this in some of his interviews. It's like when they're talking about things that he doesn't like, or talking even sometimes bad about him, what he'll do is he'll just like find something to look at that's just like in the environment, that's just like communicates with his body language that he's not paying attention. So he'll like look over, off to the side, or like just be totally distracted when she's talking about something like that, and then you don't give her that attention and you don't follow her and basically try to basically seek her approval or seek that connection when she's doing something harmful or talking about an ex, or just trying to basically lead the conversation in a way that you don't want to. And so it's like you have that choice to basically walk away from the conversation. And you can also do this in situations where she's wanting to, like, even like walking. And so it's like you don't have to follow her. And it's actually advised if you don't follow her all the time. So it's like, say you're shopping and you're going basically in a straight line to what the outcome is, and she's going like zigzagging all over, and you'll find that it's very common for women to do. They'll do window shopping. They're like, oh, let's go in this place. It's like, and men are more like, okay, let's get to the outcome. This is what we want. This is what we're here for. This is what we're going towards. And sometimes if you're on a date, it's like if she goes to one place and then you follow her here, and then she goes to another place and you're just basically following her around, it shows that she's being the leader in that relationship, or that in that moment at least. And you don't do that all the time. So it's like sometimes you will follow her to some shops, but sometimes you'll just basically wait outside, or you'll stay on track or stay on target. And that communicates that, hey, you're strong, you're in the lead really in that situation. And you can also apply that again relating to conversation. So it's like you don't have to be engaged in the conversations that you don't want to participate in. And so that's really the advice I would give as far as handling a situation like that. You can't let it get to you. Can't let yourself get upset. And just basically be totally disinterested in her in that moment when she's basically talking about an ex.